Boom! Shake the room, Fire Nation. JLD here, and welcome to Entrepreneurs on Fire, brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network with great shows like Duct Tape Marketing. Today, we'll be sharing a mini masterclass on how to sell your ideas and offerings to anyone. To drop these value bombs, I have brought Matt Easton into EO Fire Studios. Matt is a catalyst for success in sales, business, and life. Matt is best known for helping people get better in minutes, where normally they had struggled for years. And today, Fire Nation, we'll talk about the biggest entrepreneurial mistake of all, a simple system that entrepreneurs can use to close any deal, how to ask any question or make any statement without being pushy. And doing this one thing will help you grow 76% faster, and so much more, Fire Nation, as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsors. Over 31,000 businesses know their numbers because they use NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud financial system. Right now, NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind flexible financing program. Head to netsuite.com/fire right now. Success Story, hosted by Scott D. Clary, is brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network and features Q&A sessions plus convos on sales, marketing, business, and more. A recent ep on how to protect your business in times of crisis is a must listen. Listen to Success Story wherever you get your podcasts. Matt, say what's up to Fire Nation and share something that you believe about becoming successful that most people disagree with.
JLD, I can't believe I'm talking to the man, the myth, the legend. You ever know when you do something really important in your life and like the mayor gives you the key to the city? I feel like you're giving me the book of matches to Fire Nation and you're saying, light the fire, brother. So it's an honor to be here. Something that I believe about being successful that most people disagree with. And I'm curious to get your opinion on this, JLD, because you might have a similar opinion, you might not. This is something that I realized at 8 years old. There was a crossroads in my life. I thought my life was going nowhere. I was a son of a single mom raising 2 boys, making $4,000 a year. And there was a person that came into my life for a few hours one afternoon and hit me with a little bit of knowledge that changed my life. So here's what I believe that most people totally disagree with me, okay? I think that everyone can agree, especially on the entrepreneurial side, that already successful people, already successful entrepreneurs have a tremendous advantage over normal people, or dare I say disadvantaged, or people just getting started. Money, connections, power, influence, access. I think that's not a very controversial statement, okay? I also agree with that. But here's where I disagree with most people, and most people disagree with me, JLD, and I'm curious to get your opinion, is I believe that anyone, no matter where they're at in the process, can catch up to successful people and level that playing field almost overnight, and money has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Interesting. I would need more before I would fully agree with that statement. One thing that I am a big believer in that realm of what you're talking about is you can win from any starting point if you're willing to create the #1 solution to a real problem in this world. And that means you're probably going to have to micro niche down to find that solution that is not being solved at the highest level it could be for any number of reasons. It's just avoiding the marketplace. And the person with no dollars, no influence, nothing to their name can become the #1 solution to a problem in that micro niche if they identify and go all in. So I agree on that level. Is that kind of what you are talking about?
I'm going to push back on you a little bit. We can talk about that a little bit. There's a big mistake that everybody makes. They get that part of it right, but there's still one mistake that they make, and we can talk about that in a second. But where I'm talking about being able to level the playing field is if you simply have a process. Who am I going to talk to? What am I going to say? Who do I need to meet? These barriers that most people put in their head of, oh, I can't do this. It takes money to start an ad agency. It takes money to start a training company. It takes money to open my own restaurant. There is so much you can do. I mean, by the time I was 24 years old, I had already had 3 businesses, and all of them were profitable. And I never borrowed money. I didn't even know anybody that I could borrow money from. My mom made $4,000 a year. It was all in just having the courage to learn a little bit and realize, okay, where do I need to go? What do I need to do? Who do I need to talk to? And most people spend all of their time focusing on exactly what you said, which is a good thing to focus on, JLD. You got to have the right solution. But most people are spending their time meeting their friends for coffee, talking about how their app or their business or their restaurant is going to be the best and what color beige should the logo be, when they miss this one point. And the biggest mistake, in my opinion, that every entrepreneur makes is they underestimate the amount of effort needed to close a sale. You can get everything else right. Most people do. You can have a solution that is the number one solution, but you're still going to have to communicate that solution to other people. Nothing sells itself. You have to be able to sell your ideas.
Let me break in here for a second. So one thing that I really had a conversation about just yesterday, actually on a live call, was a lot of people were asking different questions about this and that. And one of the questions was, well, John, don't you need money to make money? Isn't that the thing? And since that's true, how can anybody that doesn't have money ever make money? And I actually did reply, and I said, I think a lot of times money can be something to hold you back. Money can actually be a crutch, because
100%.
when you have nothing, which, I had very close next to nothing when I launched Entrepreneurs on Fire, I had to grow a business that was lean, that was mean, and that was profitable as soon as possible. And I had to learn how to create a business that way. And if I had been given a few $100,000 and said, hey, go create a podcast, it would have looked a lot different. And it would have, maybe succeeded. It maybe would not have succeeded, but I'll tell you, it would not be the lean, mean, profitable machine that I learned through experience how to build, because I was forced to do that. So I did really come back at that person and say, in a lot of situations, I am very pro people that have nothing or next to nothing starting off and what they're doing and bootstrapping their faces off, because they're going to grow a business that is powerful beyond what they could think, and it's going to serve them in the long term, because they're going to learn lessons doing that. They can apply that. So when the money is rolling in or does start rolling in down the line, they still know how to run a business the right way. And now you did talk about the biggest mistake that is made. So let's kind of reiterate the biggest mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs make, and then talk about a system that you've created that entrepreneurs can use to close any deal. Break that down.
You're at coffee with your friends. You're like, man, I have this great idea for this particular app, and I'm going to revolutionize the garbage truck industry or whatever it is. But you spend all of your time talking about product development, talking about what logos are going to look like, what your price is going to be. And nobody is like, okay, well, wait a minute. When I'm ready to sell this, how am I going to ask somebody to do business with me? Like, I'll give you an example right now. The things that they don't talk about, how to sell their ideas. And I'll give you right now, if you don't mind, a simple system that any entrepreneur, and you can steal this for your team, JLD, because you guys are growing. I mean, I don't know if you guys are at 1 million, 10 million. I guarantee you guys are going to be at 10 million a month if you're not. And by the way, if I just offended you because you're way over that, I apologize.
No offense,
you guys are going to be at 10 million a month in revenue in no time flat, because you're doing everything right. You've got 100 million listens. But one of the things, and borrow this when you huddle your team up, is like, hey guys, what do we say to close any deal? And this isn't just, you need to know how to close before, as an entrepreneur, before you even have a business. Why? If I have no money, I'm going to have to close you on working for me for free. I'm going to have to close you on investing some dollars into my business. I'm going to have to close somebody to be my first customer. I teach things that work not just in sales, but they'd work. I wish I knew this because I never went to a high school dance. It would work if you wanted to ask somebody to prom. It would work if you wanted to ask somebody to marry you. It would work if you wanted to ask your boss for a raise. Just simple, effective strategies to close a deal. If you'd like, I can give you an example. We can even use Fire Nation as an example with your team of how to close maybe a deal on sponsoring an episode.
Let's lock it down.
Okay. So really simple. Here's why people don't close. They don't know what to say. They're really nervous. They just keep talking and talking and talking. They don't know where to go, or worse, we'll call it an all or nothing request. By the way, listeners, if you're in the car right now with your children, turn this off. And it's not because I'm about to say bad words. It's because you don't want your kids to know this. This is way too powerful. Okay. Kids make all or nothing requests. Dad, can I have $20 to go to the mall? No, darn it. Right. Same thing, right? You're calling, we'll just call it Acme. Acme, hey, Acme, man, I love that you guys love Fire Nation, JLD, super excited that you guys are a fan. Do you guys want to sponsor an episode? No, right? Hey, man, I love seeing you here at Pilates. It's great. Would you like to have lunch with me? No, I can't have lunch, okay? There's a much better way to close deals that every entrepreneur needs to know. And that is, instead of asking a yes, no, or question, you need to stop asking yes, no questions in your life, because it's basically relegating yourself to a coin flip, right? Heads you win, tails you lose. Just start asking people if it makes sense. And listen to this. If I ask you, JLD, if I ask you if it makes sense to sponsor an episode, I didn't ask you to do anything. So I'm not being pushy. I'm not being manipulative. And you cannot reject me on sponsoring an episode because I've asked you a timing question. Okay, which perfectly positions me if you say no. Listen to this. Hey, let's say I'm Easton. You want Easton University to sponsor an episode of Fire Nation, right? And let's say it's Heather is your sales rep. Heather says to me, hey, Matt Easton, man, we love that you're a fan. We loved having you on the thing. Hey, does it make sense to sponsor an episode of the podcast? Yeah, it does. Congratulations, you made a great decision. The next steps are boom, 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 right? Boom, you're off and running. But here's where the magic happens. Hey, Matt, does it make sense to sponsor an episode? No. Got it. What's a good next step then? Well, I would need to see the cost and how, this and that. Perfect. You're now moving forward, right? Hey, Matt, does it make sense to sponsor an episode? No. What's a good next step then? I just need to think about it, right? Even if they push back on you, totally. I just need to think about it. Got it. What's a good next step for me? Or what's a good next step on my end, right? Notice how I'm asking you globally, what's a good next step then? I'm leaving it wide open. If you still push back and say, no, I don't know, I'm just not sure, I need to think about it, now you just point that question at yourself. What's a good next step for me? Or what's a good next step on my end? You're going to be shocked at there's an 87% chance that they're either going to tell you yes, they're going to tell you what's a good next step then, or they're going to tell you what's a good next step for you. Okay? Call me back Tuesday afternoon at 2:30. Let's say there's that small percentage that they don't have an answer for you on anything, JLD, right? Hey, Easton University, does it make sense to sponsor an episode? No. Got it. What's a good next step then? I don't know. I just need to think about it. Makes perfect sense. What's a good next step on my end? I'm not sure, Heather. I just need to think about it. It makes perfect sense, Matt. I'll call you Friday at 2:30 if I haven't heard from you before then. Fair enough, right? You have to have a flow in your life. In this same flow, listeners, go back, re-listen to this episode. I'm literally giving you millions of dollars worth of just simple. The greatest things in life are the simplest. Does it make, we're starting a new app that's going to revolutionize the garbage truck industry. Does it make sense for you to be an angel investor? I'm not sure. I really don't think so. We're not doing any apps right now. Got it. What's a good next step then? Well, we'd have to get this in front of Rob Montgomery. He's in charge of venture capital here. And, Rob is in Portugal for the next 3 weeks. Perfect. And so when you say 3 weeks, when exactly will Rob be back? Rob's going to be back September 1st. Perfect. Does it make sense for us to get on Rob's calendar the 7th of September? Yeah, that's perfect. Boom. You're now moving. What ends up happening now is these entrepreneurs have these great ideas. Fire Nation, if I can connect with one of you out there, you have a great idea and you're like, hey, would you like to be an investor in the new app that's going to revolutionize the garbage truck industry? And they go, no. And you go, I wasn't expecting that. Or worse, we go back to that biggest mistake that every entrepreneur makes and you hear no 10 times and then you give up. Number one, you're underestimating the amount of effort needed to close a sale, the amount of people that you're going to have to talk to, the amount of people that you're going to have a conversation with. And then number two, even worse, you don't have a system. right? Listen to this in the kid version, JLD. Let's say my son was like, hey, Dad, can I have $20 to go to the mall?